going to start with a presentation. I'm sure a few of you, this topic probably hit home with your businesses because right now we're in what you probably consider a pandemic that we've been hearing all about, and marketing has probably been one of those things that how do you market during this time? So thank you very much to Stacy for hooking me up with Agency 511 to find somebody who might be a little more of an expert on this topic. So we'd like to introduce Tim Schmidt from Agency 511 to talk with the group today.
Well, awesome. So what's the power of the opening line, right? The power of the opening line. I'm not wearing a mask, so I'll still try to stay back a little bit away from y'all. The power of the opening line. What's the goal of the opening line of anything we do in marketing?
Catch their attention.
Cash register?
Catch their attention.
Okay, catch their attention. I heard cash register.
Got five, right?
I was like, you're right. No. But yeah, catch your attention. Anything else? Who wants to throw something out there? Power of the opening line. What's the goal?
First impression.
First impression. Well, good things, right? Well, in the world of marketing, those are all accurate and absolute good answers. But what the goal of the opening line is, and any line on any print medium, any radio ad, any television commercial, anything that you're doing, the goal of that first line is to get the reader or the audience to engage with the second line. So what do you think the second line's purpose is? To get the reader to engage in the third, and then the third is to get them in the fourth, and then to kind of pull them in and kind of rein their eyes in and get them really engaged with what you're talking about, right? Well, that's what we're really talking about here today, is just how do we captivate that audience? How do we get them into our story? How do we bring them into what we're doing, and under a pandemic? While saying, hey, we gotta be in this all together, but stay to your distance. Don't come close. I don't know who you are. I want to know you, but after the pandemic. And after the pandemic, I should do this. And before the pandemic, I should have done that. And I should probably get involved with, but I'll just wait on this. And we continue to should on ourselves all the time, right? And so what do we do and how do we engage our audience? Well, I want to kind of share with you just a little quote from St. Thomas Aquinas. And he has just an amazing ability to kind of understand people where they're at. He says this: if you want to change the way somebody thinks or views the world, you need to go over to where they're at, where they're standing, grab them by the hand, and guide them to where you're going, right? He doesn't say, you need to shout across the room and say, hey, you idiot, look at what I'm doing. Hey, you dummy, this is what we're doing. Or, I demand that you do it this way or else, right? That's not what he's saying. He's saying, just, you know what? Just go over to where they're at, meet them at the starting point where they are, engage them, hold their hand, connect with them. And you know what's interesting is while you're over there, you'll probably notice that the world looks a little bit different from their point of view than it does from your own. And so at that starting point, what's really unique about that is you actually get that visual and you get there and you go, wow, you know what? I didn't realize that they woke up with all this anxiety. I didn't realize that in isolation, we're stuck in our own thoughts. We have no one else to bounce them off of, right? We're in a virtual office in our home. The dog is looking at you with the crazy eyes, going, you know, when are you going to feed me? And there's laundry to be done, but you're kind of like trying to just brace yourself to stay at your station. So you get the sit-stand desk, like you're exercising, you're standing up, you're doing something, you sit back down and you take your CrossFit. And these thoughts get in your mind of isolation, and you start to think, man, is what I'm thinking really reality, right? Is this really what we're trying to accomplish? And as a business owner, you're trying to get into that world of somebody who is isolated under their own thoughts and under their own influence of thinking. And they're being influenced by a lot of other outside sources coming in. But there's a positive good side to this because we can actually influence them and teach them and train them how to think by just meeting them where they're at. Pretty cool. So who I am, I'm Timothy Schmidt, and I go by Tim, and I'm from Agency 511 right out of St. Cloud. And we are a marketing and advertising agency. I work a little bit different. The way that we do things is I don't propose certain campaigns. I come and meet you where you're at your business. I sit down and I embrace what your story is. I try to figure out what that is, and then I'm on a service fee. So we say $500 a month. We come in once or twice within the month. We figure out some things, and we do first down mentality. And we game plan and make progress in the business. Or maybe I'm more involved, and we're $2,500 a month, and we do it all. We just come in as kind of like an arm or like an external employee of your business. That's Agency 511. A little bit more unique, different type of an agency. But I get to meet people where they're at. So I've seen a lot of businesses and a lot of change happen here in the recent pandemic. But I want to say thank you as well, though, to the Cold Spring Chamber as well. Thank you for having me out here, Stacy. Thank you for recommending me come up here. It's always humbling to hear that someone was talking about you and saying good things. So thank you for that. I appreciate it, and never take that lightly. So thank you. But I've just been, as you can tell, I'm young. I've never been through a pandemic. I wasn't through the Great Depression. I wasn't through World War II. I wasn't through the plague way back when. I haven't been through any of that. But I'll tell you, there's a lot of internet marketers right now telling you they got the magic pill and they got the magic, they got the magic coin that they're going to get you, right? If you just sign up for their system for what's normally $2,000, you get it for $199. Your system is going to get you right through, right? And they're about 22 years old, sitting on the other side of a computer, and telling you that they know what their answers are. I'm going to be honest, real good. I don't have all the answers. However, I have been seeing trends. And I've got some great influencers in my life that I follow, and I read a lot of really positive and great books. And one of the books and one of the influencers in my life was Roy Williams. And I was introduced to him. He wrote The Wizard of Ads, and John Schroeder, when I worked for Town Square Media at the time, John Schroeder introduced me to him, and I just fell in love with his concepts and his books. And one of his most recent books was called Pendulum. And what he talks about in Pendulum is that there's kind of like society, the way that they think, it swings on a pendulum. And it starts out at neutral and it kind of swings up into this me society, right? This idealistic society, like, you know what, we're so awesome, if it feels good, do it. It's, if it's great, that's the guru over there, and that's the expert there, follow them, do what they say, and you're gonna be successful and great, And that's kind of that idealistic society. Now that takes 20 years to swing up to the zenith, and then 20 years back down to neutral, and people kind of go, I'm sick of that. And there's a lot of people left behind. Let's swing up into this we society, this civil society, where we're all banding together. We're moving in one movement. There's movements, there's discussions, there's realities that are happening, and it's time for change, and it's time to pick up all the pieces and where people were left behind in the feel-good, do-it moments, and we need systems we can change. What society do you think we're in right now? That we society, right? We're definitely, our pendulum has swung, we're past neutral, we're swinging up. The zenith of the we society, according to Roy Williams, is going to be 2023. So we're 2 years, about 2.5 years leading up to the zenith of this we society, this civil society. So we've got to look back into history a little bit. We have to say, well, what happened in the zenith the last time we were in this we society 40 years ago, right? Well, when you go back, let's go back even further. Let's go back into like World War II, right? When did World War II start? Does anyone know the year that World War II started? September 1939, World War II starts. When did it end? It's easier. September 1945, right? Well, when was the zenith of the we society at that time? It was in 1943. So here we were in 1943, 2 years prior, start of World War II, 2 years after, end of World War II. So it's really interesting to start looking at this in a pendulum. They go all the way back to before Jesus even walked. And this society always swings back and forth. So some of the things that we got to look at right now is that our society and the way they're thinking is they're looking for and they're longing for collaboration. They're longing for connection. They're longing for discussion. So if you come out on your high horse in a me society and say, I believe the world is this, and you're kind of that Martin Luther King, and we're saying, I have a dream, people will follow that in a me society. Swing over to a we society, and if it's you, they're going to be like, who are you to say that? Why are you the expert? You're too formal. The formality of that is gone, right? And so that right now we can actually live in a world in marketing that's informal, which is really beneficial. So you think of like Ellen DeGeneres right now, right? In pandemic moments, she's sitting on her sofa, she's in her kitchen, the cat's climbing on the counter, and she's talking to the world and people are loving it. Jimmy Fallon, he's sliding down a slide and saying, hey guys, here I am in my house, welcome to my home, and we love it. It's super informal, there's no makeup, there's no lights, there's no editing, there's no glam, but yet we love it. Because we can feel it, right? It's realistic to us, it feels natural. And that's what we're looking for in our marketing campaigns today is if you can get rid of the formality and you can kind of find just what's natural, because everybody else can kind of relate to you, that's going to be really good. And then also just that discussion. Again, we don't want to tell that this is the way it is in demand, but yet let's discuss about this. Let's figure it out. Now, a lot of times those discussions are one-sided these days, but there's discussions Anyway, in the We Society, there's always a battle to fight. I think COVID-19 is certainly quite the battle to fight right now. Certainly suppressed a lot of businesses. It's changed a lot of policy. It's added a lot of extra fees. As a business owner, I felt a lot of those fees. I felt a lot of those changes. I felt all of those things that exceeded in other businesses that are just trying to get by and figure things out. So I'm going to kind of get into what's that marketing plan look like. Now you kind of have this foundation, this, hey, we need to go and meet them where they're at, grab them by the hand, guide them to where we're going type mentality. That's what we really live in right now. And we discuss it along the way. And we enjoy it along the way too. That's the fun part. So, I know I kind of got a little bit heavy on us all, but bullet point one's out of the way. Right? Maybe a little time for a joke. So Johnny was in class. This was COVID when they went to school. He's in class and the teacher says, hey, you can go to recess early, kids. I want you to do one assignment. It's a simple, fun assignment. Just go ahead and draw me a picture. We're trying to fill this white wall with pictures. Draw me a picture, put a title on it. As soon as you're done, you can head up to recess. Little Johnny thinks for a minute. All the other kids start working. He takes his piece of paper and he flips it up. He sets it on the table and he writes, cow eating grass. Walks it up to the teacher, slams it on her desk, says, I'm going to recess. She says, wait, hold on. What do we got here? He says, cow eating grass. She says, well, where's the grass? It's just a blank sheet of paper. He says, well, the cow ate it all. So she says, okay, well, then where's the cow? Well, the cow left. There's no more grass to eat. I'm going Let's just be normal, right? So really the first step to the marketing plan is just be normal. Just be you. If before COVID you didn't talk about COVID, don't talk about COVID. If before COVID you weren't a medical expert, a numbers analyst, or anything along those lines, don't talk about the numbers. Don't talk about COVID. Don't talk about medical jargon in terms of whether masks are right or wrong, or whose life matters, unless it really completely makes an influence or a difference on the client that you're trying to reach. Then by all means talk about it. I mean, if you're a company that revolves around diversity and movement, man, right now talk about that. That's what you want to be talking about because you've been waiting for this tidal wave to come. You've been waiting for this movie. You've been waiting for this change to come. But if that's not what you're in, and let's just say you're just a cleaning company, you're probably going to not necessarily be talking about movements, but you're going to talk about how you can sanitize something. But you're not going to sit there and talk about how you can use a toothbrush to clean the inside of a bowling ball. You're just going to say what we do is clean and safe. We're going to help you do it. You can execute that for you. So some people like cleaning companies, some people like movement companies and social companies, they are going to be talking about those things. But just because they're loud and vocal right now doesn't mean that you have to be that. But I will say, be normal, have fun, and stay positive. And don't look at the doom and gloom because you know what? This too shall pass. Every time, this too shall pass. So be in the moment, have fun, celebrate victories, and start to play what I call a first down mentality. Meaning that you know that you got to execute, and you know that you got to continue to move the ball forward. But as long as, instead of having a big goal of you're going to stand on the 1 yard line and throw the big long bomb pass, and they're going to catch it at the 99-yard line and run into the end zone, which is extremely rare and difficult to do, any play, right? It's pretty rare. Instead of doing that, just say, how do we as a team, how do we as a message, if you're only a person of one, how do we as a message just move the ball 3.5 yards? As long as I have the ball, if I can move it 3.5 yards, every single carry, I'll live to play another down. I'll get the 4 down, I'll make it before the 4th down, and I'll just keep playing. As long as I don't penalize myself, I'll continue to progress the ball and score touchdowns over time. Right? So that's kind of the goal is, how in your company can you design something that creates that first down mentality so that you're making progress every week, so that you can celebrate every week some sort of a victory. It might just be the first down, it might finally be the touchdown, but you're always having celebrations within your team. Do that. That's step one. Have fun, be normal, and celebrate. Address COVID changes if you need to. So if there are certain things, if you're a restaurant, now your meals are served outside. If you are a bowling alley and now everything has to be sanitized throughout things, if you are a medical company and you got to do certain protocol, make sure that your clients know that, or typical customers know that. Put it on your website. If you haven't already, put a COVID page on your website. Do it. Mine even has it for instance. Just have it. Make a quick YouTube video. Again, formality is out, so just grab your iPhone, put it up, or your cell phone, put it up, do a quick video, drop it on YouTube, plug that into your website, and have your COVID page there. Your Google pages are going to require you in some industries to have a COVID page. If your industry does require it, you go to business.google.com, you'll see the COVID page section. Make sure that's updated in the link for your SEO and such. So address COVID if you have to, if it has changed the way you do business. Then just get back to the basics. There's a song by Peter, Paul, and Mary says, where have all the flowers gone? And I kind of look at that as like, where have all the people gone? Long time. Just disappeared. The people are at home. People are still out traveling. They're still at activities, especially in the summer. They're getting out, they're being active. You can't find a bike. You go to Walmart, the whole shelf's empty. You go to, anywhere you go, there's just empty shelves of bicycles, tents, camping gear, life jackets. It's all empty. Before it was toilet paper, and now I guess, it went from toilet paper to bicycles. So here's what it is. So we've got these people that are all still out there. So how do we market to them? How do we meet them where they're at? We can't walk out and go where they're standing. And people have come to me recently and said, Tim, I need a social media campaign. Nobody is now in the business. I need social media. I see these experts that are on social media. We've got to do social media. And I ask them, how many people do you have following your social media right now? And they say, well, maybe about 100, 125, maybe 200. So, okay, well, you got kind of a long ways to go, right? And that's usually when I lean over the table and they say, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, you can't make a baby in a month by getting 9 months pregnant. Let's see if you it takes time. You got to have one focus, one purpose within your campaign, and you take that and you drive it home. So is it a good time to start your social media campaign? Yes, of course. They are on social media right now. They definitely are. Start that. Start creating that following. Create that consistency. But be very specific in what you're trying to accomplish on social media. That's going to be something that's evident and obvious. But don't look at that or rely on that as being your next go-to and like your big hurrah. Don't sign up for the company that says, hey, we do your social media marketing for $2,000 a month and we're going to create all these followers and likes. Because I can tell you, I can buy penny likes out of Cambodia for you for pennies per like, and it'll take me maybe about 2 or 3 days and you'll have over 15,000 followers, but that's going to do nothing for your Facebook page because now your marketing is all shot, it's all ruined because the relevance and the artificial intelligence that goes into that is horrible. So your whole campaign and everything on your Facebook page is screwed up. So you got to be a little bit careful of who you're hiring to get those campaigns going. Or you can do something like what the GSDC did last year, or a year and a half ago. They started doing St. Cloud Shines, hashtag. They got all these followers following this thing. They did a brilliant campaign with St. Cloud Shines where they didn't highlight the GSDC, they highlighted others. Why did that work? Because we're in a weak society. Hey, let's highlight all the other great and good that's going on. Don't talk about us, but what happens? All shit rise with the tide, right? So we're in a weak society. You showcase and do those great things for other people. It's like it lifts you up just naturally. It's like elevator people. You get those army guys climbing over walls and they get to the top and they got the one weak guy. Well, then they take the 2 strong guys, get them up over the top, and then they reach down and they pull the next guy up. Well, that guy's down below pushing everybody until he's the last guy. So he may be the weakest to climb, but he's a great pusher, he's a great step. So that's kind of how social media has to work today. If you don't have it, you can't rely on it. Email marketing is fantastic right now if you've got a big list. If you don't go out and buy junk lists because you don't know what you're doing. You're not going to have a great success result with it anyway. There's now called promotional folders in your Gmail accounts and things get filtered out before you ever see them. So, what do? Get back to traditional marketing. Y'all still following me? Yeah. Yes, you are. Traditional marketing works today. Why? Because people are still at home. If you go back into the Great Depression in the 1930s, and I love this story, is Procter & Gamble. How many of you heard of Procter & Gamble? Right? They're so and they're huge today. They still are huge today. But where did Procter & Gamble come from? Well, they were just a tiny company with nobodies in the 1930s, Great Depression. Right? What did they have to do? Well, they have to think on their feet because everything was kind of going AWOL, right? And they're nobody. So they decided they're going to invest in marketing. At the time, radio was really, really big. That's how everyone got communication. That's on the radio. They sponsored every radio drama they could. And then it eventually converted over to television, and they started every single drama on TV they were sponsoring, being a major sponsor of. So then when Days of Our Lives comes on, they're like, oh, I'm going to watch my soap. Why'd they call it? I'm going to watch my soap? Because Procter & Gamble soaps was at the beginning of what they did. So everybody got to know Procter & Gamble. And everybody else, observe the masses and do the opposite. Everybody else is going and hiding and holding on and hunkering down down and holding on to their budgets and keeping things in, that's a great time to get out and traditionally advertise. Get out and advertise. There's empty billboards all over out there right now. There's radio spots available. You can ask Stacy, I'm sure she can find you some. And what you do is you exploit the people's habits. If ever you watch Jimmy Fallon at night, just before you're going to see Slumberland come on. Slumberland. They don't advertise a ton. Slumberland just comes on, and they position it because they are capturing the audience of those people that are watching it now. So they don't have to spend a lot. They just have to do it. You think they advertise all the time because they're on before your favorite program. So they're targeting a specific audience that's watching that specific show at that specific time. You can do that with radio too. So right now, a lot of people listening to the news, a lot of people, reaching out for that. There's certain news programs you can start at the top of the hour, you can end the hour. Or if people are looking for something that has a positive vibe to it, that's not so depressing and everything depressing on the news, they're switching over to Spirit 92.9. You can get out something like that. You can exploit those habits. Traditional advertising works great. Just driving in here, I knew I was driving into Cold Spring. Number one, there were signs along the way. But number two, when I got into town, every banner said Cold Spring, Cold Spring, Cold Spring. I knew I was walking into Cold Spring, right? I wasn't going to Rockville. All that you have to do to target and really become your market's go-to voice is just be visible, be frequent to them, especially right now when everyone else is pulling back, you can be pushing out. And when everybody is saying, well, I need to be vocal right now, and they're throwing big budgets in, what are they doing? What everyone else is doing. Digital. Let's do a big digital campaign. Great, you're going to be along the other 17 million other advertisers in St. Cloud that are doing the same thing. And then you're going to be one of every 500 ads that scrolls through that somebody's going like this through, and they're going to see about 13, maybe 14, 0.13 seconds of what you're looking at. Traditional advertising is great. If you want to be the voice of this area, put a billboard up on each part of the town, right? At the end of every part of this town. Run some radio ads to exploit the habits a little bit, and then jump on a company called adroll.com, 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 and set up a retargeting campaign. So as an agency, I can be a part of AdRoll. It costs me maybe $16, $17 per client per week to do a retargeting campaign. I could have them charge me, and then I could bill my clients, which they recommend, billing my clients almost $250 to $300 a week for that retargeting campaign, because it delivers about 16,000 to 17,000 impressions of people that have visited your website within the last 90 days. You can do that on your own, and they build all your ads for you, and they keep 14%. You might spend $100 with them in a month, and they'll keep $14. No big deal, right? So AdRoll is really exceptional. So in the time of pandemic, we're trying to be with people. We're being the voice in the community, doing traditional advertising, some direct mail pieces, being in people's hands in their mailboxes, meeting where they're at, and doing a little bit of a digital retargeting campaign, and maybe some light, maybe boosting of some posts and some different things that are permanent communications with people. And that's how you reach out to your audience. Pretty close to time. How much time do we have left here? According to my notes, I'm pretty much
About another 5-10 minutes.
Yep. So we're wrapping it up. So this is kind of the cool part. So the a lot of people ask as well, like right now, who do you get Facebook or Google reviews, right? Because reviews are really important in the society. If you think about it, my wife even wanted to go to a hair salon just the other week, and what she did is she just went on Facebook and said, who do you recommend? And there's like all these people chiming in, saying who they recommend. And then you look at their reviews and see, okay, they got good reviews, and you go do the whole thing. Reviews, because of Amazon, if you can't one-click purchase something, or you don't see a whole bunch of reviews, it just must not be necessary for it. You can't get it in 2 days. Like, who needs it then, right? So make sure that you're focused on reviews, and if you're going to focus on one or the other, you don't have one over the other, just focus on Google reviews. It's probably the most important thing right now. Your Google reviews, 90% of all traffic, the search traffic online, is Google, or a form of Google product that's being searched. So definitely you want to focus on that and work on that. And then, lastly, create chatter. That's really important. So get your clients, give them the right tools, because like in your sales cycle, everybody's got some sort of a sales cycle, and along the way, like the goal of every ad is to get to your website. The goal of the website is kind of opt in and sort through people, and then from there you're trying to just connect and create communications, and then from there you get them into your store, and you can upstairs, you can sell them and then upsell them into other products and move them through your funnel. But at the end, after a good service has happened, you want to give that person, whoever had a great experience with your company, the tools to talk about you positively. Make it really easy for them. So that when they go out and they hear of someone like my wife saying, hey, who do you recommend? It's easy for them to talk about you because they know what to say. And you're almost setting it up so that you can help them say what they need to say in order to do that. So if you can create what I call service evangelists or product evangelists that basically do the selling for you, all the better. So like when I reinvented the foam roller for friend, and we had created this roll gun. When we went out, the first year we gave away 6,000 rollers to just people that were of influence, that had big followings, that knew how to use these types of products. We just gave them away. We went then met with them, we showed them, we went to their seminars, and we got on stage with them, and we had thousands of people rolling on our stuff, and then at the end we say, hey, by the way, it's all yours, it's free. What kind of emotion do you think happens when you give away 1,000 rollers and you just did a great class, everyone's feeling relaxed, feeling good, endorphins are moving, they all jump up and go, oh my gosh, and you look at the Instagram feed, just thousands of posts of like, they gave us free product, you're so awesome, what is that? And so all of a sudden this chatter is happening. And if you can create that chatter, you get sales. It's pretty special, especially in a weak society when people are talking about other people positively. And talk about their other businesses. All right, be innovative, be passionate, bring enthusiasm to all you do, and you'll win. Like I said, if you set yourself on fire, people will come out of the woodwork to watch you burn. It's true. I mean, I've done a lot of businesses, I've grown a lot of businesses, and I look back on every single one of them, and I'm still very, very young. I got a lot of years in front of me. But every one of those great companies I was a part of, number one, I was reading great books. Number two, I was in really good company and good association with amazing people that were giving me great direction and guidance. And number three, we just brought enthusiasm. We got excited about something. And we spoke with one voice about one thing. We have people come to me that say, I don't know why, but I'm an IT company and I want people to buy this voice service that I have. And you say, well, where is it on your website? Oh, you don't have it. Well, why? Who was talking about it? Well, we haven't said anything about it yet. Well, how can you sell it? If all that they did for just 2 months was talked about voice communications and everything they did and everybody that they talked to, they would sell more voice than they ever need to sell. And then that would lead into managed IT services once every salesman got lead into the next thing, right? Because we can introduce more. For some reason, we think that if I have a billboard, I got to put every service that I have up there. If I have a radio ad, I got to put every service I have because I only got 30 seconds to tell them everything about me. The number one goal is getting to your website. They'll learn more. Make them aware of your big thing, your big idea. That's cool. So, do all of you have a cell phone on you? I'm going to finish with an exercise. Grab your cell phone. Put it up, turn it on. I'm going to finish with this. Really cool. While you're getting out your cell phone, I'm going to talk about this really fast. Bringing Out the Best in People, my all-time favorite book. I never do a presentation without recommending some sort of a book. Bringing Out the Best in People by McGinns is just fantastic. And just such a great read for the times we're in right now. And it's super affordable. It's just a great, great book. First time I read this book was back in, it was 8/11/05. I signed back my books, and it says second time reading. So I think I got this book for $6.99. So it's just fun to read great books like that. Okay, your cell phone. What I want you to do is search Agency 511 on Google, and then leave the review, positive review for this presentation. Just kidding. Open it up to your photos, look for a great photo, something that just makes you smile, makes you laugh. Grab a cool photo. Has to be recent so you aren't digging forever. Just grab a cool photo. And then I know we're somewhat socially distanced, but just turn to someone that's close to you, and if you don't have your phone, or find someone who does, and just let them share about that photo. So go ahead and do that real quickly. If you need a mask, you can mask. If you all feel comfortable in the open air, you're good. But just kind of just lightly share a little bit for a second.
My friend got married. Yeah, it's a computer.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. that stuff. But remember that when everybody's sharing the good stuff, they're sharing the best of their life, so don't compare yourself to that, right? So don't compare yourself to that, because you're comparing yourself to the best. Comparing yourself to the best. But just remember to have fun, be yourself, and remember that others are wearing a shingle around their neck. This is one thing. It's a very important thing. And all that it says around their neck, everyone's screaming this right now. This is the largest voice that's ever been out there screaming this right now. It's probably louder than anything else that's made in the news media. And the reason why the news media is happening is because they all wear the shingle around their neck. Remember this, is that everybody wears a shingle around their neck that says, please, tell me that I'm important. Just tell me with all your heart that I'm important. And if you can do that with a great deal of enthusiasm, you will follow you, especially in these society. So, thanks again for having me out, guys. I appreciate sharing this. I'm passionate about it. I love it. So, again, Tim Schmidt, agency511.com, and look me up.